Greetings, Light Tribe. Janine Palmer here, Spirit Silver Moon for Harmony Energy Healing. Doing a little video today about color and I don't know, how we group things together and how we either understand or misunderstand something, which it has a lot to do with upbringing, perhaps, programming, conditioning, ancestral issues, histories that we know parts of. Because we do not have pure knowledge here on this earth plane. So we react to limited bits of information or understanding through filters, through sadness, through anger, through hatred, through different things. And right now is a time of big upheaval in the world. And some people do not have racism in their lives, in their world. It's not part of their reality. They weren't brought up as that, with that as a thing, to where they weren't brought up to be judgmental, and they aren't judgmental. Like myself, I have friends of all different colors of skin. I'm interested in the soul, in the spirit. It doesn't matter what suit of clothes they're wearing, so to speak, to me. So, however, there are areas in the world, in the United States, in certain states especially, where that programming and conditioning of that false superiority and that imbalance and unfairness and hatred, and it's nasty, that's still a thing. This has been ingrained and beaten into people. So what is hatred connected to? Ignorance? Fear? Okay. People feel that they have to feel superior or project themselves as something superior so that they feel bigger than. That's inflating ego. And there's different ways to look at it. So this is just being shared from a limited perspective, but it might be a different perspective enough to make someone think about something or look at something a little bit differently, perhaps. So I often talk about, we have the physical DNA, or the history of our physical line of this body and where that came from, and then we have our spiritual DNA. And depending on how open people are to that, and some people are definitely not open to this, but that if your spirit, okay, like there's a bigger soul, and part of that soul comes into the body, that soul has had different experiences in different timelines and different countries and different colored bodies, okay? So our spirit brings in with it something, some knowledge. And then there's the things and that might have traumas too, but then there's the things that's passed down the generational line, those traumas, those unhealed things. And so sometimes if a particular culture isn't doing the healing work for their ancestral line, where it doesn't stop with them, it just keeps going and going and going. So some people, and this is the reason I want to make this video, it's about grouping people into groups. So it's a big thing about racism and blacks and whites. Okay, using colors to try to describe something that they're lumping into a particular category. So even if you're filling out an application, sometimes it'll have a category for Hispanic or African American or white. Is white a country? Is white a culture? No. That is a conglomeration of lots of different cultures. Okay, so for instance, when America started, there were a lot of English people from Britain, people from Germany, France. Later, the Irish came over. That was more of they're horribly mistreated, more of another slave situation, perhaps. Slavery doesn't belong to any one culture, and it's ancient. It's ancient. So we need to be healing that collectively as a whole, not just one particular group. All of it. Okay, so when it's like some people like death to the white man, kill whitey type thing. What is white? I mean, that could apply to a lot of different races. Scandinavian, Polish, Russian, all different people have a light colored skin. That doesn't mean they were the people who committed the atrocities in America a couple hundred years ago. Also, the white people here now are not those people. So what does that even mean? White is a ridiculous term because it doesn't mean much of anything. It's extremely vague. Okay. So we didn't create ourselves. However, our spirit might have chosen which body, which parents to come through, to come into, what country we're going to live in, what nationality we're going to be, because of what our soul is going to learn as our soul continues to evolve. So we come here and we have these heinous experiences, and what are we learning from them? Because really it's all about what we're learning, and hopefully that we're moving out of ignorance. Okay, so hatred and anger and wrath and jealousy and death, all from ignorance. We need to come into knowing, okay, that kingdom within, our inner truth. Knowing ourselves and loving ourselves enough that we can love others. What is missing from the puzzle piece where someone has so much hatred and they're dumping it on someone or something else? That is just oozing out of them like this festering pus, this diarrhea, and they're spreading it all over the place. Splattering. Nasty. Okay, what is that? Where does it come from? How can we do healing? So like sometimes if something's passed down and then finally one person just says enough, it stops with me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to carry that on. I'm not going to keep my ancestor stuff and suffering in limbo because I'm feeding the hatred. Okay, let's heal it. Let's heal what wasn't healed that they had to suffer for. If we continue suffering, does that help them stop suffering? I don't think so. So, what is the energy of it? If a person, if you hate someone else for a reason or a group of people, why? Where did it come from? Is this what your parents and your grandparents talked about? Is this what you were taught to believe? Is it programming and conditioning? Is it a false sense of superiority? If you hate anyone else, how can you really love yourself? If you're too wound up in the energy of hatred and projecting that negativity onto the world. How is that fixing anything? It's making it the problem bigger. So some people can look beyond color and race. They're raising their vibration. Other people can't. People at different levels of awakening awareness. Okay, so somebody's not there yet, and maybe they're working their way there, and they're learning through their experiences, and they're learning through their suffering, and they're learning through their pain. So we meet different people of different skin colors. Who cares? It doesn't matter. That are beautiful, wonderful beings. And then we meet those that are very angry and wrathful. Where is it coming from? And what are we going to do about it? So some people, like I said, they're not seeing the race thing because it's not part of their reality. It's not part of their timeline. And then other people have that unhealed stuff that something just really triggers them. Right now, there are groups that are out there manipulating those wounds to trigger people, to get them to act out, to where they're making it into this big thing that it really isn't right now, but they think it is. So just because one cop is a complete, arrogant, egotistical, ridiculous asshole who acts in a highly unprofessional way and needs to be in jail himself because they're out there, doesn't mean they're all like that. Just because 200 years ago some fucked up white people did some fucked up unfair things doesn't mean that the white people now are those people, or that they are doing those things, or that they would do those things. And again, what is white? Is it Scandinavian? Is it French? Is it Polish? Is it Russian? Is it German? What is that? It could be any of it. And some of those people had nothing to do with any of the stuff I'm talking about. Nothing. But because their skin's white, some group in ignorance and hatred is going to go beat them up or kill them? No. No. And there are people of, what is dark skin color? Is it Jamaican? Is it African? Is it Aborigine? Is it Ethiopian? What is that? So people have different colors of skin. So what? It's not a problem for some people. Some people are continuing to make it a problem And it's the people who sometimes even think there's a problem that there's not as much of a problem as they think there is. Of course, there still is. There's still a lot to be healed. So if you have an issue, and maybe it was from upbringing, maybe it was from the history, maybe it's something you feel, maybe it's something you haven't got over, maybe it's something you haven't healed or your parents haven't healed. Maybe you could be the one to do the healing. I don't know. That's up to you. Where is the hatred coming from? Let's go back. Let's go back. Follow it back. Follow the root. Where does it go? Where does it take you? What does it show you? What does that feel like? What can you do with that energy? Is it in you? Is it a block to your forward movement? Is it a block to happiness? Because we have a perception that keeps us stuck? Because we're focusing on something negative? We're not changing it into something positive? We're not becoming the alchemist? We're not transforming and transmuting something? And some people won't understand this language and some people will. You follow the root down, you find something. What does it look like? Describe it. Acknowledge it. Oh, there, I see you. Where is it in your body? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What color is it? What texture is it? Can you pull it out? Can you tell it what you want to tell it? And then visualize getting rid of that. Giving it to God, giving it to the angels. If it was just gray and mucky and brown and black and nasty and cloudy and low vibration, negative bollocks, can you visualize turning it into something lighter? Can you put some love into it and healing into it? If you saw a wounded being or wounded ancestors, can you visualize sending them love and do some of this work and give it to God and ask for that to be healed? Can you heal it in yourself? And if you go deeper than that, where does it go? If you keep following that down and down and down, what are you finding? What's the energy? Where does it come from? What does it feel like? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to let it stay stuck? What's the cost for renting that in your system? It's probably pretty pricey. So I just wanted to talk about the fact that white as a description for certain people because of their skin color, well, is that racist? I mean, let's be fair to cultures, okay? There needs to be a longer list for cultures of people with white skin. Let's check that instead of grouping all of those into one category with a label and then attacking that because of what a few assholes did back in the day. And what are any of us supposed to learn from it? Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to take the wisdom gained and apply it for a forward movement. So I love all my brothers and sisters out there that are my friends, regardless of their skin color. So, but that's me, and not everybody's like that, and not everybody was brought up like that. There are some, and especially in the United States, there are certain states that need a lot of healing. There's so much ingrained stuckness there, and I'm sorry for that. I am sorry for the way that certain people were so heinously treated, and it's like our hearts go out to them, and we wish it didn't happen, and we wish that we could be a positive force of healing for them. We wish that we could step in and stop atrocities, and that we could just hold those people in love and let them know that they're cared about and stop people being so horrible to them. But we're all learning something from the experience. And some white people say, oh, I'm ashamed to be white. Okay, well, let's see. I am very saddened about so many things that have happened on this planet and that still are. And I want to be proactive in the different ways that I can work on healing. But I'm not ashamed for my skin color and for something that I didn't do. Okay. So I'm here to heal it. And that is what this video is about. Peace.